and welcome to Q Eat's 4th episode of the semester. I'm Danielle. Join me by the fireplace while I reminisce on the glory days. So, back in my day, Sunny, I spent a little bit of time traveling the world, different pockets, and delving into a lot of different cultures and meeting some really life-changing people. And being a foodie, naturally, among my favorite pastimes was going and trying all the different cultural cuisines. So, since Quinnipiac loves its diversity, we have a guest star today. So, since Quinnipiac loves its diversity, we're going to integrate a foreign culture into today's menu. So, conveniently, I have some Polish roots myself, so I'm well familiarized with pierogies and kiełbasa on the Christmas table. But since I know you guys don't have 6 hours to sit around for the grueling process of our slave labor of making homemade pierogies in this house, I recruited a friend's help that I met when I was traveling, Natasja, and I used her as a reference, and she gave me a really great recipe that she remembers from childhood that her grandma used to make around the holidays. And as being a nutrition connoisseur, as soon as I heard carrot orange cookies, I mean, of course, after it was translated from Ciastka Marchewkowo-Pomaranczowe, pronunciation took me longer than the food prep for this episode, my ears perked up immediately. So that's what we're going to be making today. And so without further ado, follow me, or should I say, God's me. So before I embark on this Polish endeavor, I gotta look a little bit more like my Grammy, so much better. So to introduce you what I've done so far, I have boiled a cup and a half of carrots. By the time it's boiled down and mashed, it takes about 10 to 12 minutes. It equates to about a cup, which is what you need for the recipe. So what we're going to begin by doing, we'll mix up our dry ingredients and set them to the side. Right now what I have in here is 1 cup of all-purpose flour, and when I'm substituting a healthier ingredient, the rule I like to go by is to use half and half. So we're going to use half of what's called for, the all-purpose flour, and then the second half I'm going to substitute in is going to be our whole wheat pastry flour. I'm going to go ahead and measure 1 cup of our whole wheat flour. The point of my healthy substitutions today are just to put a little bit of a health twist onto something that's not all that unhealthy already. Oh. Sorry, Mom. But at the same time, I want to make sure that I'm not taking somebody's favorite recipe made by their grandmother and completely butchering it, or not disrespecting my own Polish heritage. So we'll make the substitutions mild. So now we have our 1 cup flour, our 1 cup whole wheat flour. And in here as well is going to be 2 teaspoons of baking powder and a half a teaspoon of salt. And then we'll go ahead and mix up what we have in this bowl. We have 3/4 cup of sugar. Yes, there's healthier substitutes we can use, but we're not going to go ahead and change the recipe entirely, so we're going to leave that be. What the recipe itself called for was a half a cup of butter, which would have been an entire stick. We're going to cut that in half, and what we're going to substitute instead, we're going to have a 1/4 cup of the butter, and the other 1/4 cup is going to be Greek yogurt, so that way we're cutting some of the fat content. So we're going to take our sugar, our butter, and our yogurt, and we're going to take it over to the electric hand mixer that I have plugged in over here. And you're going to go ahead and beat this until it's creamy. So now that we have our nice fluffy mixture, what we're going to do next, in order to substitute for an egg, what you can do is you can use 2 egg whites, and that's going to take the yolk out, and that's going to help lower the fat in the recipe as well. We'll go ahead and we'll take our 2 egg whites, and we're going to mix those in with the rest of our batter so far. So our next addition to the mix is going to be our 1 cup of boiled and mashed carrots, as well as 1 teaspoon of vanilla that we're going to eyeball. Okay, and go ahead and blend that up entirely. For our our dry ingredients, so again what we have in here are 1 cup of all-purpose flour, our 1 cup of whole wheat flour, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. All this is going to get incorporated slowly, folding it in just so it doesn't fly up in your face as you're trying to mix. So you can break those dry ingredients down into about 1/3 every time that you're incorporating it in. And this is the last of our dry ingredients now. And we'll give you an aerial view of what the batter should look like. All right. Okay. So a little bit about the health benefits of these cookies. As you can see from the orange batter we've got going on here, you're actually getting a good source of vitamin A in a cookie, as weird as that sounds. And when we get into the actual glaze, the orange glaze that's going on after, we're also incorporating in some vitamin C. So as opposed to your traditional chocolate chip, I don't know, I think the Polish are doing something right with these ones. And just for an extra source of healthy fats and omegas, I'm going to go grab some chopped pecans and we'll stir those in. So this just goes right in with the rest of the mix. Alright, so I guess I'll consider it a success if 1/3 makes it into the actual mixing bowl. At least it's not chocolate. My dog can eat these without croaking. Okay, so we're going to head over, if you'll follow me, not that you have any choice, and we're going to drop my teaspoons down onto our baking sheet. So as I finish up dropping these onto our baking sheet, one of my favorite aspects of the Polish culture, and a lot of Europe for that matter, is the major difference between their cuisine and ours is I find that a supermarket and a large-scale grocery store is an entirely foreign concept to them. Everything is bought at local markets. They know exactly where their food is coming from. And things like saturated fats, trans fats, and added sugars are completely appalling to them. That's not something you're going to find in their items as prepared. So even cookies like these, they're never something you're going to find pre-packaged in a store. When you feel like an item like this, you have Grandma home making it for you with ingredients that you can pronounce and identify, and that's a very refreshing concept that they practice over there. So I have my oven behind me, preheated to 350 degrees, and we're going to go ahead and pop this in for 12 to 15 minutes. And for a very simple icing to top it all off, the glaze is just going to be made out of freshly grated orange zest, fresh squeezed orange juice, about 2 tablespoons, and then approximately a cup of confectionery sugar. And that all mixed up will make the perfect cherry on top for our carrot orange cookies. So to bring the whole Polish heritage full circle, I was going to use our Tropicana orange juice, and I got reprimanded by my mother. So it turns out I'm going to be juicing the orange instead. Okay, so I'm going to cut it in half. Alright, this is obviously a foreign concept. Oh, that was easier than anticipated. So, there you have it, folks. 1 entire orange yields about that much juice. But hey, at least it's fresh, so we're a little bit more Polish. Okay. So in here we are going to put 1 cup confectioner's sugar. And we are going to progressively add our freshly squeezed orange juice. Here, if you'd like an aerial view. And we'll stir it until it starts to form that glaze consistency that we're looking for. Okay, so our carrot orange cookies are officially out of the oven. My best advice is to wait till they cool to ice them, But for the sake of the episode, I went ahead and glazed one and drizzled it with a couple little orange peels, just to give a visual. So, there you have it. You have a cookie that's jam-packed with both beta-carotene, you have a little bit of vitamin C in the glaze, and we've also been able to integrate a nice, diverse cultural dish into our episode today. So, Natasja, I hope I didn't disappoint you or put your grandmother's recipe to shame, but I tried my best, and we've healthified them in the little way that we could. On behalf of my Polish heritage and my Polish friends over there, thank you for tuning in, and I hope you've tried this recipe at home and share a little bit of a diverse culture with your family. So, I'll leave this here for Santa for the next 2 weeks. Hopefully it stays good. So Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays from KU Eats.